So the latest FIFA rankings have just come out, which means the latest CAF rankings have just come out. And if you look at the CAF top 10, you'll see that South Africa has moved down a couple of positions. If you look at the FIFA rankings, you'll see that we've also dropped a couple of positions, which got people angered because they were thinking, how could we drop spots when we just qualified for the World Cup? Especially when we had Nigeria in our group who are 18 spots above us on the FIFA rankings. Why do we not move up if we've qualified? There are many reasons to that. One of the main ones being that if you don't beat the opposition lower than you, you tend to suffer. And obviously our result against Lesotho was overturned, as well as the draw against Zimbabwe affected us badly. But that's not really what I'm concerned with. I'm looking at something a little bit more different. How many of these countries really rely on local-based players to fulfill the needs of the national team? If you look at the top 10, you'll see that there's 5 countries from West Africa, 4 countries from North Africa, and only 1 from Southern Africa. That's us. Only 2 countries in the top 10 actually have more local-based players than foreign-based players in their squad. And 1 country is right at the top of Africa, 1 country is right at the bottom of Africa. And that'll be Egypt and South Africa, obviously, if you did not know what I was saying. Egypt and South Africa are very similar in the sense that both nations rely heavily on local-based players to make up the majority of the squads for the national teams. And this is only possible because both countries have very strong local leagues, and we saw that both countries are very competitive on the continental stage, both in the Champions League and in the Confederations Cup. If you look at the last 10 matches that Egypt have played, they average about 7 local-based players in the starting lineup. And that number has only decreased because of recent transfers of Egyptian players to neighboring local leagues. If you look at the last 10 matches of the South African national team, not including Chan and Kosafa, you'll see that our numbers are pretty similar to the Egyptians, if not higher, because usually we have Lal Foster who plays in England, and we have Mohamed Kota right now who's just transferred from Orlando Pirates to the Saudi Premier League. And for the most part, our squad is made up of locally based players. So what happens when the national team is reliant on locally based players, but those players are getting less and less game time? We don't have to look any further than the Saudi League for that. When I was in Saudi Arabia in 2022, the number of foreign players allowed on the pitch at one time was 7. This wasn't really a problem because the quality of Saudi players was almost similar to the quality of foreign players. So you had equal competition in terms of players getting onto the pitch. You'd find teams with maybe 6 foreigners on the pitch or 5, and the rest being locally based players. In the 2022 FIFA Club World Cup, we were still with Al Ahly Egypt and we played Al Hilal. They had 6 local-based players in their lineup. In the 2023 FIFA Club World Cup, Al Hilal managed to get to the final against Real Madrid. In that game, in the starting lineup, they had again 6 local-based players. In the last Club World Cup in the USA, Al Hilal played Manchester City and won. But in that starting lineup, they only had 3 locally based players. I just watched the Kings Cup the other day between Etihad and Al Nassr, and combined there were only 5 local players playing in that game. And what tends to happen is 3 locals tend to be in the same positions across the teams. You find that most attacks in the Saudi League are made up of foreign players. The local players, players eligible for the national team, have slowly found their way to the bench. Now it's clear and evident to me why in the last couple of years the national team has started to struggle since their successes of the 2022 World Cup. In the last 12 months, Saudi has found themselves losing to the USA, to Mexico, to Oman, to Bahrain, to Indonesia, drawing with Trinidad and Tobago. No disrespect to some of those teams, but Saudi should be a dominant powerhouse in the Middle East. As someone who's worked in Africa and in the Middle East, I promise you, the PSL is one of the best leagues you'll ever find. Don't take this league for granted because we produce quality players who are able then to filter into the national team and get us good results in the national team. And we've seen what's happened in recent times. So many of our local players have gone to play in the biggest club competition on the continent and done well in the Champions League and in the Confederations Cup. And a lot of players from various teams in our league have also made it into the national team. Guys, I'm telling you, don't take this league for granted because it shows how important it is for a strong local league to support your national team. Hey guys, I just wanted to thank you for the feedback that I got from my first video. Some of your suggestions were really good and some were just downright nasty, but I took them all with a good heart because I'm learning as I go. And to my cousin Papi who told me to blink because I'm not a hostage, this is for you, mate.